All
What's
right.
going on, guys? Welcome to a long-awaited episode 5 of the
It's been a
Levels
while.
Podcast.
It's been a little bit. So, listen, we'll just give you a short one. It's been a little bit since, of course, we have filmed. Of course, it's been pretty much before the Arnold, Ohio, which is now we are in April. So I guess time is on fast forward. But you've been down for a little bit. You've been rolling with some craziness.
Well, we did record one, Joey, so we did think about them.
We did, we did.
Yeah.
But we didn't want to release it because, of course, we were just a little bit delayed on when we were going to drop it. And listen, it doesn't make sense to talk about something that was weeks and weeks and weeks prior. So we wanted to cancel that and just give something fresh. So
Plus, I was doing the Chris's Seater, like connecting from a hotel Wi-Fi, which wasn't the best.
no, that
Anyone
was
who listens to RX Muscle back in the day, Chris always used to be in a different hotel and get disconnected every 5 minutes from Heavy Muscle Radio. So I was playing my part.
yeah. So other than that, how's everything with you been?
Getting there, getting a little better. So, I mean, it's been a challenging few months since, I guess, I came back from Dubai. I mean, I don't put much personal stuff out online, but it'd been a bit of a drag. I mean, even the Arnold, I didn't really see as many people as I usually would because I wasn't at the booth full time, with some health implications. So I got back from Dubai, and within the first 2 weeks, I dropped 45 pounds, I think it was, in 14 days, which is obviously quite alarming. Anything I would eat would literally just go straight through me, which, you know, it was good for the Uber Eats drivers and like people on Uber Eats because I was literally ordering whatever the fuck I wanted and knew that it wasn't going to stick. So I think I went through about 12 or 13 different restaurants just for bread pudding because that's what I fancied. And yeah, obviously kept losing weight. So there was something seriously up. And probably obviously the main side effect was being in the bathroom a lot, but it was absolute exhaustion to the point where some days I was in bed for 20 hours of the day. There's a couple of days on the weekend where even 20, there was one Saturday I was in bed for 23 out of 24 hours. I couldn't function. So there's something pretty seriously wrong. So I was going through a series of tests and I couldn't really get any answers. Blood work wasn't looking too bad, but my amylase enzymes were really high. And my glucose had started to raise, not crazily, but it was getting worse and worse. And my insulin was super low. So obviously you can kind of join those dots and you realize there's something probably wrong with the pancreas. So I went back and got more blood work, and given my family history and my doctor, like having a history with cancer as well, we had to test all the cancer markers because all of the symptoms were kind of symptomatic of pancreatic cancer, but they also are very similar to autoimmune disease, which I've got a history of. So we had to check. I mean, I knew I was beat up after Dubai. I was going through a lot of stress at that time, with other business ventures and some legal stuff pertaining to that, getting into a business and then trying to get out of it, and then the time difference, like 9 and 12 hours Dubai. So I was literally staying up pretty much all night and working, and then obviously staying up during the day in Dubai. So my body just got completely beat up, and the stress and autoimmune, it just completely, I think it flared up. But anyway, long story short, I went and got the blood test for the cancer markers, and some of the markers came back elevated. So we had to do the next step, which was the full PET scan, head to toe. So that's basically checking for any tumors and just any active cancer, any mass, anything, just anything that could be found. But that was like a 2 to 3 week period of not knowing, which Anyone who knows me knows I think like a million miles ahead. So I have to think, I'm always considering every circumstance. You have to do a lot of planning. And obviously, I try and keep as much to myself as possible, but certain things you can't. So like Joey obviously wore a lot of the stress as well because he would need to, if the worst came to the worst, what was going to happen with the business? And like he would have to take on a hell of a lot of responsibility pretty quickly, but also making sure that all the back end of the business was taken care of. So, you know, where all the formulations were available for people and, you know, everything was set up with manufacturing and Joey could step in. So there's just a lot. So I was pretty much MIA for a while and getting about a couple of hours a day where I'd be functional. So that was very challenging. Obviously, do a lot of soul searching at that point and trying to realize what's important. So if anyone was actually following the stories and things, he probably realized there was a lot of gratitude and a lot of like me trying to be just trying to make people understand that tomorrow's not promised and you really need to value what you've got in life right now, and especially the people in life, and make sure that, you know, they're taken care of. So yeah, that was kind of it. But thankfully, we got the all clear, and I'm just waiting for MRI results now of the. We had a with and without contrasted, but dye into the veins, and then, you know, run an MRI of the old abdomen, so liver, pancreas, and everything. I'm just waiting for those results to come back, but I'm actually feeling a lot better. I actually did a diet intervention as well. I had to do 2 diet interventions, which is probably what people were more interested in.
I was
Because
that's what I
obvious,
was hoping to
because
read about it.
yeah, because obviously when you've got that issue with blood glucose and with the pancreas, then I had to kind of keep carbohydrates very low. And there was no enzymatic output, so digestion was off. So I actually got quite a bit of bruising appearing on the left, like on the side of my abdomen. And that's from where the enzymes are pretty much leaching out under the skin and causing, you know, bruising, seeming like bruising to occur. So that would kind of rule out a lot of, I couldn't really have much dietary fat because there was no way of breaking that down either. Very difficult, hard to digest. So it was pretty much
Now, was that because of the actual like the problem of what was going wrong, or was that having a root going back to like just you having low insulin in general?
well, it's all from the pancreas.
Regardless, yeah.
The pancreas puts out the pancreatic enzymes were not being put out.
So
So
that
there
was
was nothing to actually break down the food. And then the insulin was not being secreted either for the carbohydrates as well. And then, so when you're having carbohydrates, insulin's not being secreted. That's why we're getting high blood glucose.
gotcha.
So running low carb and just running some higher fats would have been the option that most people have gone for. But then again, I couldn't really digest the fats or the dense proteins either. So if I had that, I would feel nauseous all day. So it was, and every time I did eat, you feel nauseous and anything would go straight through. So it was just kind of it was very delicate, like, and what I could get away with. And you get to the point, if anyone's been really sick before and being nauseous, you had a stomach, but you kind of get scared to eat because you just don't want the repercussions.
Yeah.
So I did that for about 6 weeks of low carb, and honestly, that whacked my energy more than anything. I felt pretty awful, but it was just something I had to go through because of the issue.
Yeah.
So then I actually switched back once I felt that like the symptoms were getting a little better and I knew that it wasn't the worst case scenario. And I was honestly just craving rice. I just wanted some like rice and like potato. And I'm really in tune with my body. So I know when my body's kind of asking for something that I don't think it doesn't ask for burgers and pizzas, guys. So you're like, oh, I've got a kind of craving, I better go and eat it because Joe said I've got to listen to my body.
Yeah.
Not that type of in tune, guys. But I've done food experiments and like different diets for nearly 20 years now to the extreme. So I know like how certain things will make me feel when my body's in a certain state. And literally, even as soon as I just started eating some carbohydrate again, and I mean just carbohydrate, I wasn't having fat, I wasn't really having protein either. But I started to get better energy, and there was still some issues with digestion and gas, but it was a lesser of two evils. And I started to put some weight back on again. So I was like, okay, the problem's starting to die down a little bit. And that's pretty much where I've been at. So, I mean, if anyone saw my story, I was touching on protein intake, and I will touch on that because I do think we overconsume protein. I think it's way overplayed. I don't think that we need that much protein, especially when we're working at calorie maintenance or in a surplus. So, I mean, I've put on probably about 30 pounds. And
Yeah, yeah.
if I've had any direct protein, it's probably just been fat-free yogurt. I've not had any chicken, any red meat, any salmon. I've had a little bit, some prawns because they came in my paella, but that's about it. No real direct protein except that and some fat-free Greek yogurt. So, and I'm
So you're just
not,
mostly carbs and fats.
no fats, all carbs. Yeah, rice, potatoes, that's pretty much it. Just starches. Not really any sugars, not really much fruit, lots of starches. And yeah, it's been pretty good. So I just think it's way overplayed. And actually, if you look at one of the studies that came out recently, and I will talk about this because it's a learning point or something for you guys to look at, is they studied muscle protein synthesis on a bolus of protein. I think it was on 25 grams and 40 grams muscle protein synthesis, but also on 100 grams. And they found that there was a massive increase in muscle protein synthesis, both immediately and then like 8 and 12 hours later, muscle protein synthesis was significantly increased from the 100-gram bolus of protein versus the 25 and the 40.
Okay.
So that's going to eventually could potentially change the way that we look at protein and needing to have 5 and 6 intakes a day versus you might just need 1 or 2 boluses a day and just get the same effect.
So instead of almost stagnating a diet out where you could go like 5 ounces, 5 ounces, 5 ounces, 5 ounces, you'd almost be like 2 meals, influx of heavy protein.
Yeah.
Minus that. Wow.
Potentially, that's going to be something they're going to need to study and pass out. But it was very interesting from the study that was published. I think it was published like 5 or 6 weeks ago. There's quite a lot of people talking about it in the medical and the science arenas. But yeah, a bolus like post workout. Actually, that's something I'd done pretty heavily at periods all the way through my career. It was post workout was to have the heaviest protein meal, and that was not just by me thinking anything really. It's like, well, when's my body going to need protein the most? Well, it's when I've just done the most damage to the muscle. So the period afterwards is when you would think that your body would be requiring more to recover as opposed to pre. So
Now, do you think?
been interesting to see that study come to light, and it's probably making people ask a lot more questions and it's actually answered.
Yeah, because I'm like even thinking like, well, if you're doing a bolus, like big, huge dose of protein in 2 meals, like how does digestion fluctuate between that? You know what I mean? Like, would you be doing like what if you're doing like a massive amount of like a lean protein source or like a massive amount of fatty protein source? Like, will the timing of that be different, or will the digestion of
Well,
that?
so what you would find there, Joey, and that's a really, really good question, because the study was actually done on milk protein,
Okay.
not an isolate, not a concentrate, just on straight milk protein. And I think the reasons, actually, I know for the fact, because I actually listened to the researcher say why they chose that. It's because dairy is the most heavily consumed source of protein across the world. So that's
Yeah.
how they justified it. That's why they chose milk. Dairy is the most, you know, more so than any other protein source. So if you ever know anything about milk, like milk protein, you have quite a good amount of casein in there,
Yeah.
and obviously you get some concentrate as well. So you will get like a decent response initially, but an elongated response because it's a slow digesting protein. So what you say, Joey, about having a bolus with a leaner protein, say used like an isolate,
Yeah.
what you would expect to find is a greater muscle protein response immediately, and then it would get lesser for the duration. So say this is your, God, let's try and do it on a podcast. This is your milk protein where you get muscle protein synthesis, and then it would gradually be a little bit less. Like it would go on a slow curve, whereas the isolate might get a bigger spike,
Like,
bigger drop, but it would curtail. So it's like you get more area under the curve, like further away. So anything with high fats, red meats, and things like that, you would expect it to be a more mild rise, but then an elongated, where the amino acid availability is for a prolonged period.
Yeah.
So this is good. I mean, it set me up asking a lot of questions. I wanted to do a lot of experimentation myself
Yeah.
because that would really pass out the potential to have a bolus of protein and then pulse potentially just amino acids, essential aminos throughout the day with your carbohydrates. So you keep getting bumps in protein synthesis, but the amino acid availability is there, like the full spectrum amino acids, because digestion's going on.
Yeah.
So you just kind of giving it another pulse by having some leucine or essentials. And then your digestion's much better because you're processing carbohydrates.
That's yeah, dude. It's like almost so you'd be able to eat more carbohydrates per meal. It's like imagine having like, you know, say like a 10 ounces like amino tour, and then all of a sudden having like an influx of say like 300 grams of rice plus 100 grams of berries, maybe whatever the case, because like now you can even eat a bigger influx of carbohydrates per meal because that protein source isn't, of course, taking up any room or any space.
Yeah, digestion would be a lot easier, waste would be a lot tighter. So
I mean, some crazy stuff.
it could change a
Wow.
lot of things.
Yeah.
I actually connected with Scott Stevenson as well this last couple of weeks, last week or so. I'm just part of the, going through the people I really need to speak to when I was doing the analysis, like, because Scott's always been a really good friend to me and a really nice human being and always had a great relationship. And he was one person I wanted to reach out to and make sure I spoke to. So we actually reconnected and actually got, I can't say too much on here because it would lead into a product, but I'm going to look at commissioning some research with him, along proteins as well, because it's stuff I've been doing with athletes historically, that I would really want to put through a study because I believe that we do consume too much protein and that I can elicit a similar response from having a lesser amount of protein as you would from having a high amount for muscle protein synthesis wise. So I dare say that I could probably get the same levels of muscle protein synthesis from 100 grams that you could from 200 grams, for example.
Because when I was looking on my phone here, I was going to ask you this. Is speaking of protein, I want to bring this up to you and see what your thought is because we're talking about proteins here. So I do think one of the most craziest things in this industry, and I think it's inevitable in life. Like me and you were even talking about this. Like nobody's essentially secure because like world is forever evolving, right? Everything in the supplement industry is forever evolving. There's always coming out new science, new space, and everything. So like with speaking of protein, of course, like you say like a milk protein, right? And then of course you got a whey protein, you got isolate, scrap, you got all that stuff, right? Do you know anything about this new, of course, like quote unquote protein? This BLG 100 is what they're calling it.
Is that the one where you don't need many grams of it and they're saying it gives you the same value of protein?
Yeah, it's like it's pretty much like I understand. Like it's one of the brand new things, of course, in the whey protein categories of concentrates like isolates, hydrosylates. Like this BLG 100 is like essentially involved in that. I guess the biggest thing about it is that it's containing essentially a higher percentage of leucine. So like this is it's like more of a higher percentage of leucine per this BLG 100, which of course is
Yeah, so they're arguing that like 10 grams of their protein's the equivalent or giving you the same response as say 20 grams of something else.
correct because the leucine threshold is super compensated in this type of product.
Yeah. Well, again, that's coming down to why would you not just have less meat and some leucine? Which goes back to what the fuck I released Syntharcharge for with probiotics back in 2010.
Yeah, so let's go with that product because that's an OG product nobody knows about.
No
Like
one knows it over here in the US, and it was like fucking light years ahead. Like, so that was essentially 3.5 grams of leucine in capsules that you would take with your meal to elicit muscle protein synthesis because you'd be having some protein with your meal. So it would kickstart muscle protein synthesis, and it had a big hit of pre and probiotics in there as well.
oh, okay,
So it was helping with your gut and helping with digestion and gut health,
as well
and
as spiking.
as well as spiking muscle protein synthesis as well.
Well,
Yeah, and
yeah,
that's 2010. So that, for anyone listening who's like, yeah, we're always fucking light years ahead. So now it's funny because all this is starting to play out. Like, what happens if we you know, do X, Y, and Z with amino acid with the protein. Like, what happens? That kind of like is what I'm probably going to be doing with Scott. You know,
Yeah.
it's just taken fucking 13 years, dude.
It's crazy. Yeah,
That's why I say I don't worry. I never worry, like where we're going, because what I talk to you about, and like,
mhm.
so I know you grasp most of it, but sometimes like this stuff that's like way out there
Oh, for
that
sure.
the
Yeah,
industry's
there's
not
some
ready
shit you
for.
definitely tell me I don't understand.
It's fucking 5, 10 years ahead, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
it's pointless me fucking even talking about it now because it ain't. No one's gonna get there yet, and that's what
Yeah.
Synthecharge was one product which really made me realize that it's like being too far ahead is no good whatsoever because the industry's not ready.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I had to market Ravenous as an appetite enhancer because no one was looking at gut health. If I marketed that how it's supposed to be marketed with oxbow, betaine, digestive enzyme complex, and ginger and things to warm up the digestive tract, it's a digestive product. But I had to market as Ravenous to increase your appetite. As a byproduct of having better digestion, is you're ready for the next meal. But I had to market it as an appetite enhancer because the industry was not even looking at gut health and digestion in 2010. It wasn't a
I was
thing.
gonna say that's essentially when you dropped Ravenous, when that
Yeah,
product.
Matador and Ravenous were both 2010. It wasn't a thing. So I have to change the whole messaging of a product just so the industry could understand.
That's like a really wild business thing, marketing thing you just really did there. I don't even know if you did it. It's wild. Like the desired outcome of a product that you've actually created, you had to partner and change the way you were going to market it because if you would have marketed it a different way for its sole purpose,
No one would have got it.
nobody.
Yeah.
Wow, that's actually pretty incredible. And for everybody that's watching this and knowing this, like I've been with this company for 5 years. We've had Ravenous since I've been here, and I've never known that. It's wild. Damn.
Yeah. So that's the messaging. It's like you can have the best products on the world, but if the messaging isn't there, then it's never going to be understood.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
You know? Like sometimes, dude, I've had to make product. Actually, you know this. I've had to make products, and I've just had to put certain ingredients in because it's what the industry recognizes. It's not because it's a great ingredient. It's just because it's got that in. I recognize that, and I know that does this.
Clear.
But it's actually some of the other shit that no one knows about, and I don't fucking tell you about because I don't want everyone else to know what's actually doing the heavy lifting. That's doing the heavy lifting in the product.
Yeah.
Like the original, like this, like was it the Stampede Stim? Like that had the I think it had ATP in there, and it was
Yeah.
like
Did you have like adenosine monophosphate or some shit?
yeah. It's like, and people like didn't pick up on that, and they're like, what they were
Yeah.
getting their energy and feeling from. They're like, oh, she's from this and that. Yeah, okay, you keep thinking that, like, you know.
Because that was a product. Even when I remember I looked at, it, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And then when you actually told me like what it is as a power output product, I was like, "I've never seen this in anything."
Yeah,
It's pretty wild shit, man. It's cool. Like,
that's why, man. When you're formulating a product, like it's if you're very smart with the way you formulate a product, you put stuff in there that people then you kind of mask like what is actually doing the what where the magic's coming from.
yeah,
You know, I always talk about delivery and like how I want it to work in the body, or do I want to change the viscosity of the blood? Like, do I want to do certain things to create the environment for the uptake to be better? And
correct.
that's where a lot of it is, and people just don't realize that. It's like, oh well, it's got 6 grams of citrulline, 8 grams of citrulline. I'm like, yeah.
Mhm.
So there's all the other ones. Why does this one feel different? Like you just keep thinking it's the citrulline or whatever it may be, you know?
Yep. But it's just citrulline has now become what you've said. It's become a product that has been so widely known that now when either whether it's any sort of individual that's turning a product around, they're looking for citrulline. It's the same thing
Hmm.
with betalanine. It's like they're looking for 3.5 grams. It's already programmed into the mind of what's been drilled into marketing and everything else, where the 6 grams of citrulline, this 3.5 grams of betalanine have become a standard where people look at it and they're like, if they don't see that in a product, it sometimes is turned back because they're like, whoa, it's not the standard. It's not in there. Why is this not in there? This is what's needed to be in there. It's crazy how that happens.
Hmm.
It's ashwagandha has been out for years and years and years. I don't know what had happened last year where ashwagandha just decided to just roll, and it's this crazy product. And when things have been around for years, when it's time, it's its time, like you said.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Just
So
whatever
listen,
people get a hold of and what starts trending, man.
uh-huh.
But again, it goes like, why is Stampede such a good pre-workout? Why was the original Shreddable so fucking strong? Why is Shreddable such a fucking good product?
Mhm.
We're using the same materials. If you look at the label as anybody else, why does ours feel different? Well, because there's something going on that's in there that's created an environment that makes things feel a little bit different. You know,
Mhm.
there's a process in the body that's happening that they don't even realize.
Nope. You can
But,
you can have a crazy panel on a product. It doesn't mean that that product's going to do what you would think it would do,
mhm.
depending on the ingredients.
And that's the biggest thing. Like, just try a product.
Mhm.
You know, just try a product. I mean, I don't push. I'm not a sales guy, but when I post and I say, just fucking try it, and that's all I should need to say. Like when we dropped Stampede, I didn't really post anything. I was just try it.
Yeah.
You know, done this for long enough to earn a little bit of trust for making good products. It's like, and I don't say it on every product we release, but when I do say it, it's like just try it. You know.
Yeah.
So there's some good stuff out there. Actually, I'll give Brett a shout out. Brett's product, I actually need to do a post on that. Very good.
Yo, see, okay, so listen, I didn't get mine in the mail yet. I ordered it. I bought one that mini size to try.
Okay. I'm going to drop him a message. I haven't spoken to him. But Brett Wilkin sent me one of his Butcher Balm, his topical. It's fucking good. It's very good.
Which, if you guys all do not know, this topical cream, very well known, of course, what's in it. You got your BPC and your TB500, but it's in a topical cream, which most of everybody knows, of course, being a peptide has to be injected. This is actually on a topical. So, yeah, as soon as I seen it, I had to grab one. I was utterly ecstatic to, of course, try it because, of course, knowing those two partners of a compound of a product, the TB and the BPC, those are doing like wonder drugs
But
out
the delivery is really good. You get really hot really quick around the area and get really warm really quick. So if anyone's using like knee sleeves and stuff, like you won't need knee sleeves to keep your joints warm. Put this on your joints before, and within a couple of minutes, you get a warm sensation and you feel good all the way through the session.
there.
It's a really good product. Really good. Credit to him. He's done a fucking great job with that.
Hell yeah, nice. Well, shit, I'm excited to get mine. I can't wait till it gets
Yeah.
here. Hell
There you
yeah.
go, guys. Just try one. But yeah, shout out to Brett. Thank you for sending that out, and he's going to have a lot of success with that. I'm excited for him.
Yes.
I love seeing bodybuilders do something under their own brand, and it's not just like, oh, I'm going to release a pre-workout or something. He's gone away, found a problem, like identified a problem, something that's probably happening with him, and a lot of other people have, and he's put a solution together
Hmm.
himself. And I've got so much time for that. That's
Yes.
what everybody should be doing. And he's got a family, you know, he's got a child. He's a top level bodybuilder. He's going to have a fucking breakout season again this season.
Hmm.
And he's doing that. Like, just respect.
Yeah.
Take note, people. Take note.
Well, listen. So, I mean, let's we'll like kind of drift this into kind of we'll close out the episode on this. But since bodybuilding, we got. I feel like we got to talk about the South America. We have to. We didn't get a
Hmm.
chance to really dive into Arnold, Ohio, because we're a little bit late. But we got to dive into this, and of course, cover some areas, cover some spectrums. It was an eventful weekend for some negative reasons, but it was also a very eventful weekend for bodybuilding, for sure.
So what was your thoughts, man? What do you
Okay,
think of it?
so listen, I thought it was pretty cool. Listen, I like when people. There was always that stigma, of course, like people showing up to a show, whether it's their pro debut or whether like they've been posting pictures online and everybody's just waiting to see what they look like in person because online to show are completely different scenarios. So, um, dabbling into, of course, bodybuilding, I thought it was really cool that Good Vito like showed up the way he did show up. And me and you were going back and forth about it. I think he has a really wacky physique. Like, and it's out there now. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't just this IG thing where people are saying, he's editing his shit. It's like, no, that boy has got some moves to be making. I think his front double is like awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Small waist, crazy freaky quads, wild upper body. He's got great arms. Like I think I don't know. I think Good Vito's going to be a very big very big threat in this industry for, even it being his pro debut. And now I've seen he's going to do the Detroit Pro, so that's going to be a little bit of a shake.
Yeah, he could do damage at Detroit. I mean, shout out to Chris. That was his first show working with Chris at CETA.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Chris fucking dialed him because one of the biggest questions was going to be his conditioning coming in because he's never been sharp before. And Chris fucking hard as nails, like got him as hard as nails. If anything, maybe they'll try and bring a little more fullness, but
Hmm.
because he flattened out a little bit in the upper body, and he's a little bottom heavy. His legs are a little bottom heavy. He needs
Yeah.
to bring his upper body up a little bit, but for a pro debut, he that could have flip flopped. Like that could have flip
Which was
flopped around
crazy.
a little bit.
I thought I seen um, Brandeo. I thought I seen him in the middle, and then it was Vito, and I thought it was them battling for first and second.
So what they did, man, with the call out, it was really interesting.
I didn't see Antonio.
They did individual call outs with Raphael and with Good Vito, and then with Raphael Antonio, as opposed to doing like the top three
Oh,
all together. They did them individually, which was a little different. I've never seen that done before.
huh.
So, well, yeah, Raphael took the win.
Yep.
Tony looked wacky. I love him. What a fucking great guy. I've
Yeah.
always got a soft spot for him, man, because you know the story behind Tony, though.
Yeah.
Like I saw him turn, for anyone listening, I saw him turn pro in Las Vegas. I think he was lightweight or light heavy. Maybe he was light heavy. And as soon as he walked on stage from the side, I'm like, that guy's fucking amazing. I actually videoed it. Like I videoed him on stage, like literally as he came, walked out. I'm like, he's gonna win the whole show. And I sent it to Chris Asita. I WhatsApped him. I was like, this kid's wild. He's got a fucking crazy future. Like, keep an eye out for him. And yeah, he did actually win the overall at that show. And then
Yeah.
we connected and we just stayed in touch. He's a really nice kid. I'm really happy to see him progress.
Yeah, because
He
we were chatting it up in New York when he won. That was cool.
yeah, he reminds me of Dexter a lot.
From some of his
He's
attributes.
got bubbly muscle, smaller guy who's growing through his career like Dexter did. Started off light and coming through, and he's just gonna hopefully just keeps progressing. You know, stays smart, stays healthy,
Yeah.
puts it on in the right areas. But he could have won that show from the back. He was fucking
Oh,
way better than Raphael.
oh my God. Yeah, that back lat spread was fucking wow. Oh my Lord, dude. Crazy.
Hmm.
Yeah, I thought his glutes were chained out compared to Rafa's. I mean, I thought when I looked at seeing his back double and literally seeing his back relax, I was like, those are Tonio's. He's banging both of those. Just I think the crispness and the density and the detail.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail, especially through the hams and the glutes compared to
Oh my
Raphael.
Lord.
You
Yeah.
know,
But listen,
Raphael looks a little soft compared to the Arnold.
but I'm gonna show y'all this on my phone. Okay. This is probably the coolest shit I have ever seen. I watched this like 5, 6 times. I like we don't really get this, I feel like, in our sport, and people don't really understand that because listen, if you are a football fan, like a massive football fan, of course, when your team is on the field and they're playing, people are roaring, right? Of course. Like, I mean, if you guys know like Penn State College, they do a whiteout. Like that whole stadium is like whited out. So like we don't really get these crazy moments, right? Like bodybuilding, I feel like when you get the hypeness, right? Listen, bro, that is when Rafa is on stage. This is the coolest shit I've ever seen. Like
Dude,
he's freaking
that's Brazil, dude. That's Brazil.
bro.
I used to go to the Mr. Universe every year, which is Mr. Universe. I don't know if it's still going on. I think it is. But the finals were always in England in Southport every year, and Brazil. Actually, I saw Rafael. I saw Rafael win the juniors there. But dude, the Brazilian fans were like that. And there might have only been 20 of them who come to England, but it was so fucking loud. It's like full on bawling as every fucking person on stage. It's sick.
Dude, that's why I was like, I was watching this shit and I was like, this is unreal to hear. Like when he walks out on stage, that place erupts. Like
Mhm.
he's hitting his back, he goes and hits his back relaxed, and like he like puts his hands and like rolls his hands up. You just hear people screaming and like he's yelling out to the fans. I'm like, I wish every show was like that. Could you like like we're going to be the New York Pro. Okay, we got Gage, we got a men's physique athlete, and he's going to be rolling this like a second like pro career year. But like the New York Pro is going to be a banger, so we're going to be there. But listen, we know it's going to get live, of course, for the guys open. Like when Nick's up there, it's going to be crazy. People are going to be screaming. But like, I just wish it was like that wild, bro.
Mm.
Like you're in like, it almost sounds like, bro, like you're in like a soccer stadium and you got like the whole crowd just like mobbing to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That was one of the coolest shit. Like that was the coolest thing I think I've seen from, watching the show. And like, of course, like I don't know if it's um I mean, we always say it because of the international people or like, the international shows, but like sometimes I feel like some of these international shows, like this top five is so close, bro. Like to the minute details of like who wins and how they win. Like the guys classic out there was crazy. I mean, listen, you already know I'm a fan of that. That dude got second, that Diego kid.
Yeah.
I don't know how old he is, 23, 24.
And the guy who I sent you, was it Livorno? He got third.
Yeah,
He's,
right behind him. Yeah, right behind him.
but anyway, just like before we move on, like Rafa got the win and fucking he looked sick. So like when I said like we were talking about Antonio won from the back,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Rafael from the front, and he's just got too much that.
It's too good.
Dude, you're digging.
Yeah, I just muted it. Yeah.
Um, yeah, from the front, just too much chest, shoulders. His quads were really sweepy as well. He just didn't have as much detail, but his float and his size probably just carried him through. He's a
Right.
phenomenal bodybuilder. He
I was gonna
really.
say just the shape of his front double, even in his front
Mm.
relaxed, like yeah.
But
I
you
think
can
it's
see,
nice.
we call this podcast levels. You can see where the levels are for when he makes that step up to the next people. That shallowness through the hamstrings, that detail, and again through the back. It's just good enough to win this show. But when it's that next level, you see, it's when
To get into that top five,
yeah,
six, top
it's, he's got another couple of years really to work on that.
yeah.
I do want to give a shout out to William Martins was fourth. Dude, the guy in fifth is the guy I sent you a couple of weeks ago with the crazy lats.
Yes, 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 yes,
And
yes.
he
I was
he
like, "Oh,
turned
shake it
dude,
up."
he turned pro there and then went and did the open like the men's shirt and got fifth. That was it, like he turned pro the same weekend and then
Oh
went and got
shit.
fifth. Uh-huh. He's gonna be dangerous as hell. I think it's Carlos. Carlos.
Yes. I
Carlo.
was trying to find him on bodybuilders. I was trying to look at him and see where I'd seen
But
him.
what a freak that guy is going to be. Like, mark my words, if he carries on this next in for another 2 years, he's going to be dangerous as fucking hell.
Yeah. To be
I
able to
couldn't believe that he went and got fifth. But it's like, holy shit, that's it. I sent him to you and I think I sent him to Cardone as well, to Dom. I think I sent him to you and Dom, like, holy shit, this guy is going to be something.
Mhm.
I didn't know who was prepping for the show, but yeah, he won the amateurs and then got fifth in the pro show.
That's so that's so sick. That's crazy.
No. Yeah. So shout out to Tim because he's going to be listening and understand English, of course. But
Damn. Yeah, so that I mean the show was crazy. I mean, I feel like the show was wild from the classic, the bodybuilding. That's the ones that I was, of course, paying attention to. I didn't really see like who was winning on the girl side or anything, but I mean the show was crazy. But then I feel like all also off the show was crazy. You
mm,
know, I mean I was shocked. Like Gage sent it to me, but then I'm like scrolling down after he sent. I'm like reading about it. Like the bull got beat the up. Like
that was in the UK the same weekend, guys. It was
yeah,
a bros versus a bro. God, two bros. I was going to say bros versus pros. That's fucking back to the RX muscle gym lift in the day.
oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm getting those mixed up. Yeah, two bros in the UK show, and yeah, being from England, yeah. What can I say? There's certain areas and there's certain things happen, and with the way I was brought up, like this wouldn't be too much of a surprise. But I mean, things have shifted on in the last 20 years. But Michael, unfortunately, got a bit of a
Some broken ribs, a broken
yeah.
nose. Yeah, I don't know what happened if his eye looked okay, but it was swollen. I know he was at the hospital trying to see
Mm.
with it. Yeah,
And we've got nothing but positive things to say about Michael. He's actually, I probably consider him a friend, and we've had positive experiences. You trained with him out in Dubai.
yeah, man. I think he's
Um, So God knows what happens. I did message him, and
Yeah, same.
he replied, "Seems okay." Obviously, more of a shock than anything, I'm guessing, and a bruise, definitely well, more than a bruise to the ego, but there's a few bruises, but
Yeah,
just quite shocking that it went that far. No,
that's
because we
sad.
don't know the full story, so we don't know if there's any provocation. We don't know if it had been simmering. We don't know if it was, antagonized any way, or whether whether he started something, or who knows. We just don't know at this point. So we've got to kind of sit on the fence a little bit. But the level of damage that was done. I mean, even if you're there on a door and you work in security, even if someone did, like, worst case scenario, throws a punch at you, or you just like, you handle it. You
Took
try
over
to
extreme
handle it.
thing.
You get them, the hands behind the fucking back, behind their neck, whatever it is. You reprimand them and you march the fuckers out. And if they struck you, you fucking hand them to the fucking police.
Mhm.
You know.
Mhm.
But to go on and beat the shit out of someone, break the ribs, is there's going to be repercussions for those people regardless.
Oh
Whatever the
yeah,
fuck happened, like, you can't do that. So they're going to be on criminal charges. And
regardless.
Michael's well within his rights to press charges, and he will, for sure.
Yep.
So that those people are going to get what's coming to them, regardless of what they say or what the full story is. Like, you can't go around assaulting people.
No, no way.
So,
No, not
not
at all.
what you expect from a bodybuilding show.
No, man, not at all. Not at all. I was scrolling through Instagram to see now. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, then I clicked on Michael's story, and it's crazy. Like, he's at the show, watching
Mm,
the show, and then it's like him outside talking about the show, and then the next thing you see, it's like update of like him in the hospital. It's like, holy shit. Yeah, and
yeah,
the last
and
thing I'm thinking of is you're getting beat up by security guards at a bodybuilding show. I'm thinking like you got in a car accident or like other.
yeah, I honestly do. When I heard or saw, actually, I think I saw it, and then someone messaged me. I thought he just got in a fight. I thought he'd been jumped, like maybe he'd gone outside the venue and gone to a
Oh,
and
oh,
being jumped, or had been in the car park and got jumped by people. I didn't realize that it was security. I was like,
yeah,
holy fuck.
yeah, man. Well, hopefully, whatever goes on with that, I mean, we'll be seeing whatever comes shits out of that. But yeah, hopefully,
Yeah, and the two bro statement did not do themselves any fucking favors. I'm sorry, like, I don't know who put that statement out, but
didn't help your cause.
if you had two brain cells, one of them fucking died before they put that out. It's just, you don't go out, if you're a professional company and that's happened. If you want to make a statement, you say, "Hey, we're aware of what happened. We're investigating the situation, and we'll bring more news as and when we find out. But we are conducting a thorough investigation." Leave it at that. You don't come out and say that he was trying to get into the women's and, like, insinuate he's a predator and a deviant.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Come on.
they spun that into I don't know where they took that in that direction. Like
Which, I
like we
mean, if you take that as as a litmus test for the professionalism in which they conduct themselves and conduct their shows, then ain't saying many good things about them. If that's the measured response that you put out a day after an incident, that's the level of professionalism that you conduct yourself with. I'm sorry, like, that's bad enough in itself.
yeah, that ain't working, bro.
What else? Like,
Yeah.
if that's your measured response,
Hmm.
how are they treating everything else? That's all I'm gonna say.
Yep.
So whoever put that statement out needs to be fired, unless it's the organizer, and then the IFBB probably needs to fire them.
Yeah,
But
very.
yeah, I'm interested to see what the IFBB do, actually,
Yeah.
because there's got to be an intervention at some point. Like, that's one of their sanctioned events. Two bros are going to have a case to answer, and it's also one of their top Olympians.
Yep.
And
That's
if Michael's done something like seriously wrong, which I doubt very much, then they would need to look at, like, Michael's actions as well. So it works both ways, but the
yeah.
IFBB got to get involved at some point.
Hmm. Has to. Yeah, I feel like they have to.
Yeah. So
Well, yeah. There's always got to be some fun, man. Can't just there's always got to be news and drama in the industry, of course.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's been pretty quiet. There's not been any like real drama in.
And it's almost just like excitement for the shows to get moving. I know there's a lot of hype for New York, of course. We're just seeing Nick and getting things rolling with that. The shows that are rolling this year. But yeah, it doesn't seem like there's any like beef or drama like going all crazy through this year. There hasn't been anything as far
No,
as
no,
I know.
the music industry's claimed all that right now.
Oh yeah, bro. The music industry took the cake for all the rest of whatever they throw me. Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, shit. After that, man. I mean, listen, we got Detroit Pro coming up next. That's pretty cool. And listen, shouting on other brands. How do I care how people feel about it? If I'm always talking about other brands, whatever's going on. But listen, I think it's really cool that like, whatever Fowd's doing, but I think like, Axe and Sledge came in with Seth Rose. They're putting like a bunch of money down for the competitors. I think it's really cool that people are like trying to step up and put more money into the pots for people. I think that's really nice especially for these shows. I know that's a big thing that they're trying to do this year and put more money into it and, you know, enhancing the prize money for these shows as well, just to draw more of attention, more of a crowd. But so I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, Detroit's gonna be a good show, man. Like got good veto. I think Martin Fitz. I don't know who else is doing the Detroit Pro though. Those are only two people I know that were in the mix.
Yeah. I don't know. A lot of the others are holding on for New York, aren't they?
It's pretty what. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like I see Dorian Haywood's in it, Nick, Tonio, like Stu. He's in New York, so it's like
Carlos. Is Carlos is doing it, right? Is
I
Carlos
haven't
still
talked
in
to him
New
ever
York?
since ever since Carlos. I knew he was not going to really probably pull through the Brazil thing. I thought he was come back home, of course. Bless all of his
Mm.
family and shit with with what they have. Losing that family member. So I know that was, of course, I would assume why Carlos came back, but I don't know if he's still busting down New York or what he's up to. Yeah, I
Mm.
know that was essentially the game plan. Pop's giving us the rundown. Telling us
You've got Pittsburgh the week before as well, haven't you? New York, and
yep.
like there's a guest for like there's a lot of people coming to guest pros, man.
There is.
I
Yeah, that's
think I think Nick's going to be guest pros in a week out. So I feel bad for the rest of the guys who are going to be standing next to that.
yeah. Fuck.
But that's always fun, man, because you have Derek there posing for the first time.
Yep. I think
I think
Andrew Jack.
Samson will be coming back over, and Andrew Jack's meant to be there. Big Ramy is meant to be coming.
Really,
Uh-huh.
that's cool.
So it'd be interesting to see him pose, like see what he actually looks like.
Yeah, because he's doing his little comeback. He's not out the game yet.
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, it'd be cool, man. Pittsburgh should be fun this year.
It's exciting.
Just
Yeah.
for that little showdown.
Yep. Yep.
It's like the warm up for the Olympia.
I was going to say, yeah. It's cool how they do that. I like how they do that. It's like a nice little hype factor going into, to kick
Yeah.
the beginning of the year off.
And we all know what happened, like, was it 2 years ago when Derek showed up and
Oh my God, Derek shocked the world.
shocked the world?
Came out and hit a. What do you do? I don't know if you hit a front relax or a front double, but everybody at some.
Yeah, his front double was fucking crazy.
Ugh.
And Hunter's up there as well. And Hunter's looking fucking huge as well at the moment.
Yeah, he looked like him and Ben are doing some moves. They've been looking like
Yeah.
they're changing big time.
Hmm.
I feel like he's already in a really good spot, even conditioning wise.
I think he only just really started his full off season as well. It's been a few weeks since I spoke to Ben, but Ben's happy with him. So yeah, good luck. So I think I'll wrap it up for this one. We're going to hit you with another one very soon.
That way we get some stuff dropping, stay consistent. Absolutely. Especially we got the season starting. We're going to be getting busy. We're going to be doing some travel. Of course, we're going to be moving around this year. I feel like it's just getting started, but like, yeah, already go next week. I'll be in Florida next week at the new Fitness Society event. So I'll be out there for that, going up towards all the top end of Florida and all that fun stuff. But yeah, it's like traveling, shows, store events. I mean, listen, we got some banger of products coming. A couple of them are, yeah, I'm itching it. Which we need to try the samples. They're in my cabinet. I just haven't tried it.
Shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck.
yeah.
Yeah. We better
Just
do
that product, that one, this product that we are going to be trying, which we will be releasing. Joe showed me this profile out at the Arnold in the morning, the day that we all got there, the morning of. Show me this profile on his phone, right? Immediately, I looked at it. I was like, I don't know why you're not doing that for AD. So that's what we have. And when that comes out, oh yeah, that's going to be a banger. That's going to be a real good one. So
Mhm.
yeah, we need to try that so we can get that shit approved.
Yeah. After this, we'll try it straight away. So we'll get it done now.
There we go. All right, everybody. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Episode 5 in the boards. For myself, from Joe. Appreciate all the feedback. Appreciate all the support. Keep watching. Tune in. Thank you guys for all the support. We'll see you.
Thanks, guys.